The history of Pokemon, Red, Blue, and Yellow. Pokemon was created by a man named Satoshi Tajiri. Tajiri was born in Tokyo, Japan on August 28, 1965. As a teenager, he became fascinated with the popular arcade games of the time, such as Space Invaders. Later, after Nintendo released the Famicom, he was so interested in it that he actually once took it apart just to see how it worked. In 1981, at the age of 17, Tajiri started his own magazine called Game Freak, focused on the arcade game scene at the time. Game Freak was handwritten and stapled together, but that didn't stop Ken Sugimura from getting involved after seeing the magazine at a magazine shop. Sugimura would later illustrate the first 151 Pokemon. After realizing the quality of arcade games had been lacking, they decided to turn Game Freak into a video game development company. Their first game was developed by Namco and was an arcade-style game called Cunity. Later, Game Freak developed games for Nintendo's NES and Super NES, and Sega's Mega Drive. It wasn't until Tajiri saw the new Game Boy and its link cable in 1990 that he first came up with the idea for Pokemon. Tajiri pioneered the idea of connectivity between handheld game consoles by suggesting that the Game Boy could use their link cables in order to have friends do more than simply play against each other. Tajiri pitched his idea of Pokemon to Nintendo, and even though Nintendo was skeptical of the idea, they were convinced enough to explore the concept. Super Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto became Tajiri's mentor, guiding him in the creation process for Pokemon. For this reason, his developmental style closely matches that of Miyamoto. The concept of the Pokemon saga stems from the hobby of insect collecting, a popular pastime, which game designer Satoshi Tajiri enjoyed as a child. While growing up, however, he observed more urbanization taking place in the town where he lived. As a result, the insect population declined. Tajiri noticed that kids now played in their homes instead of outside, and he came up with the idea of a video game containing creatures that resembled insects called Pokemon. He thought kids could relate with the Pokemon by individually naming them and then controlling them to represent fear or anger as a good way of relieving stress. However, Pokemon never bleed or die in battle, only faint. This was a very touchy subject to Tajiri, as he did not want to further fill the gaming world with, as he would say, pointless violence. Also, Tajiri was influenced by Square's Game Boy game, The Final Fantasy Legend. Noted in an interview that the game gave him the idea that more than just action games could be developed for the handheld. Junichi Masuda composed the music for the game. He utilized the 4 sound channels of the Game Boy to create both the melodies and all the sound effects heard in the game. Originally called Capsule Monsters, the game's title went through several transitions due to trademark difficulties, becoming Capumon and Kabumon before eventually settling on Pocket Monsters in Japan, and later, in North America, Pokemon. Miyamoto was the one to suggest creating multiple cartridges with different Pokemon in each of them, noting it would assist the trading aspect. This idea gave birth to the 2 original Pokemon games released in Japan, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green. The Japanese versions were released in February 27, 1996. They sold rapidly, due in part to Nintendo's idea of producing the 2 versions of the game instead of the single title, prompting customers to buy both. Several months later, the blue version was released in Japan as a mail-order-only special edition featuring updates in game art and new dialogue. To create more hype and challenge to the games, Tajiri revealed an extra Pokemon called Mew, hidden within the game, which he believed created lots of rumors and myths about the game, and kept the interest alive. The creature was originally added by Sugito Morimoto as an internal prank and wasn't actually supposed to be exposed to customers. It was not until later that Nintendo decided to distribute Mew through a Nintendo promotional event. However, in 2003, a glitch became widely known and it could be exploited, so anyone could obtain this exclusive Pokemon. During the North American localization of Pokemon, a small team led by Hiroa Nakamura went through the individual Pokemon, renaming them for Western audiences based on their appearance and characteristics. In addition, during this process, Nintendo trademarked the 151 Pokemon names in order to ensure that they would be unique to the franchise. During the translation process, it became apparent that simply altering the game's text from Japanese to English was impossible. The games had to be entirely reprogrammed from scratch due to the fragile state of their source code, a side effect of the unusually lengthy development time. Therefore, the game was based on the more modern Japanese version of Blue, modeling its programming and artwork but keeping the same distribution of Pokemon found in the Japanese red and green cartridges respectively. As Game Freak finished the North American versions called Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, Nintendo would allegedly spend over $50 million in promoting the game in fear that it would not do well with North American children. The two games would be released on September 28, 1998 in North America. The games were received extremely well and became one of the best-selling RPGs of all time, but the original Pokemon saga was not done yet. Directly after development of Pokemon Blue in Japan, Game Freak started development of a special Pikachu version called Pokemon Yellow. Its release was made to coincide with the release of Pokemon, the first movie in Japan. It's an enhanced version of Red and Blue, and the objectives remain the same, as well, though some differences exist along the way. For example, in the beginning, the player is not given an option to choose one of the 3 starter Pokemon. Instead, a wild Pikachu that Professor Oak catches becomes the player's starter Pokemon, while the rival characters takes on Eve. The plot takes from the anime and features characters that were not featured in the game or have been enhanced to resemble the designs used in the anime, including Jessie, James, Nurse Joy, and Officer Jenny. Similar to the anime, Pikachu refuses to evolve. Players are also given the opportunity to obtain the original 3 starters. Pokemon Yellow released in Japan on September 12, 1998, and in North America on October 19, 1999. Also, a Pikachu-themed Game Boy Color bundle was released in North America on October 25, 1999. Like Red and Blue, Pokemon Yellow was well received by critics and has also sold very well. In 2004, Nintendo released a remade version of the games for the Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Fire Red and Green Leaf. Most critics praise the fact the game introduces new features while still maintaining the traditional gameplay of the series. On February 27, 2016, Game Boy came to the Nintendo Virtual Console for the first time on the 3DS with Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. It was released in celebration of the 20th anniversary of the original Pokemon game. Pokemon has become one of the most successful game franchises of all time, with dozens of spin-offs like Pokemon Snap and the newly released fighting game for the Wii U, Pokken Tournament. Aside from the spin-offs, there has always been one great Pokemon game after another, as Game Freak is always adding new features, but always keeping true to the original games. Pokemon Sun and Moon will be released later this year in 2016, introducing a new generation of kids to the joy of trying to catch them all. Even though there have been many new generations of Pokemon in the many different Pokemon games over the years, the original 151 Pokemon will always be the most special. Now, grab your Game Boy because you gotta catch 'em all. Hey guys, it's Justin from the Nintendo Dads podcast. As always, here is our history of Pokemon, Red, Blue, and Yellow. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. It was probably one of the longer history ones that I've recorded, but man, I learned a lot of really cool, interesting stuff. So speaking of learning it, and I can't take credit that I actually wrote the script or any of that, or did the video production. That needs to go to Cas Lush from Gaming Docs and Nintendo Nuggets, guys. He's the one who does these videos. They're tremendous. He just sends me the script. I record it. We love working with him. He is absolutely amazing, and obviously co-hosted while I was gone as well, so you guys heard him. But guys, this the Retro Rewind that we do is only possible because you're a Patreon subscriber and have helped us reach our goal. So as always, guys, I want to list out our amazing Patreon supporters. So big thank you to Eli. Big thank you to Sirius X Sarcasm, also known as Amanda, Holden Moffat, Brian. Guys, thank you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Also, big thanks to Adam, Phoenix, Jasim, Brett, Holden, Randon, Marty, Steve, John, Colin, Justin, guys, hey, thank you very much. We really appreciate your patron and continue to support us. Also, let's not forget Nick, Jim, Chad, Nick again, Joel, John, Toys for Games, Eric, Jesse, Malik, and Matt. Guys, thank you very much for listening to us and supporting us and enjoying the content that we put out. We hopefully that you guys find value in it and enjoy it as much as we enjoy giving it to you. So thank you very much. Again, guys, thanks. This is Pokemon History of, and we'll see you next time on our next Retro Rewind.